Control is perhaps one of, if not the most unique games I've ever experienced. You play as Jessie Faden, a young woman whose brother was abducted by a shadowy organization known only as the FBC, or Federal Bureau of Control. Naturally, your goal is to find your brother and uncover the truth of what the FBC is and what it's been doing. And those answers aren't going to come easy.
Story.
If you've watched any of my other videos, then you know that I try to keep it really brief. So, like most of my other content, in fact all of it, I don't have the time or energy to recap the entire story. So I'm not going to. Mostly because I'm lazy, but also because I really want you to play this game for yourself. Alright, that out of the way, this is where shit starts to get real weird. Things aren't exactly normal over at the FBC. I mean, our first clue is the fact that the head office is located in an impossible structure in the middle of downtown New York, so, there's that. Yeah, that thing's, big. Jessie is led to the entrance of the FBC through the help of this spirit in her head that she lovingly refers to as Polaris later on in the game. But for the first couple hours, it's just referred to as you. So, I was really hyped about that. I thought it was really cool. I thought the game was breaking the fourth wall, and then they sort of squander that opportunity, but that's neither here nor there. It quickly becomes apparent that something horrible has happened. Before you can reach him, the director of the FBC just straight up offs himself, and it turns out that an entity only known as the Hiss has found its way in, and has either killed or possessed the vast majority of people working there. Upon finding the former director's body sprawled out on the floor, Jessie picks up the service weapon. Turns out she's got the right stuff, and she is made the new director of the FBC right then and there. Yeah, it's a little complicated. From there, the bulk of the game is spent searching for your brother, answers, and uncovering the truth behind the FBC and its actions. If I'm honest, the Find Your Brother plotline is a little bit generic. What really kept me going personally is the mystery behind the FBC, and whatever the fuck this strange dimension you're in is. Anyway, I won't talk too much more about this because I'm going to end up recapping the whole story, and that's precisely what I'm trying to avoid. Let's move on.
Gameplay.
At its core, Control is a Metroidvania with light RPG elements. So as you progress through the game, you'll unlock more and better powers and level up. Gameplay-wise, it starts off relatively straightforward. As I mentioned before, after you find the director's body, you get the service weapon, which is a pistol, machine gun, shotgun, and sniper rifle, all rolled into one. It's made out of these really strange black blocks that rearrange themselves to meet whatever the desired configuration is. And then from there, you'll fight your way to Central Executive, basically the hub world that exists between the levels of the FBC. You'll meet this lady. Emily Pope helps you get your bearings early on, and then lists off a couple key individuals that you'll need to speak to find out what happened to your brother Dylan, and what the fuck is going on. From there, you'll progress to each level of the facility, and unlock more and more powers as you go, from the help of the objects of power scattered about. God, I guess I need to explain that, don't I? So, the objects of power are basically everyday items that, through interacting with this otherworldly dimension, have gained some incredibly strange properties. Some far more dangerous than others. The first object of power you find is this old Cold War era floppy disk that also happens to possess telekinetic powers. Remember when I said this game was weird? Well, wait till you run into the fridge that's basically a weeping angel from Doctor Who, or the self-replicating post-it notes, or maybe the clocks. How about the carousel that grants you the ability to dash with such force that the objects around you explode? Yeah, I'm not sure where Jesse's holding that one. Let's talk about combat. It's something to behold. Once the bullets start flying, the 1960s office spaces around you are shattered, reduced to nothing but debris. Countless classified documents are sent flying in all directions. The very walls, floors, pillars, everything can be turned into a projectile and hurled at your enemies. It's insane. You feel like you're a walking wrecking ball, because Typically, when you first enter an area, it's super pristine and really clean looking, and then by the end of it, it looks like a bomb went off. The combat doesn't just look good either, it feels amazing as well. The service weapon sounds really beefy in all of its forms. It never gets old to pick up and hurl objects at enemies. Jesse controls like a dream. It all combines to be this really, really satisfying combat system. Of course, the massive level of destruction doesn't do anything to harm that experience. Other than combat, there's a boatload of exploration to do, along with platforming and even some puzzles scattered throughout here and there. Though the puzzles themselves do leave a little bit to be desired, a little too simple for my taste. Overall, though, I think the gameplay is really, really strong. The combat definitely carries the game, though, and I think Remedy knows that.
Setting.
I don't really have words to describe this game's setting. Just that it gives me some serious Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, X-File vibes. You spend the entirety of the runtime in the FBC, but you're frequently transported to areas that may as well be on other planets, or planes of existence altogether. And, well, I suppose they are. The FBC is located in the astral plane, an unknowable dimension, where the established rules and laws of physics have no merit. Where the world around you is likely to change as soon as you round the corner, or open a door. Like, check this out! And seriously, final warning for spoilers.
What's down that way? Not what I expected.
Congrats! You've just had some of my favorite moments ruined for you. Still happy that you didn't click off? I'm not. The setting just oozes atmosphere, and begs to be explored. There's nothing else like it, as I so often seem to say in these videos. There's countless documents scattered throughout the many levels of the FBC that offer insight into the world, or individuals, the objects of power, or even office politics. You're so often rewarded for exploring this place and trying to connect with the setting. There's a ton of environmental storytelling as well, so it's up to you to piece together what is happening in a lot of instances, or what happened before you got there. I spent a huge chunk of my playtime just reading, man. There's so many cool little tidbits, or little stories scattered throughout this game, that it's a joy. I can't recommend that part of it enough. I feel like no words of mine will ever actually truly do this game justice. The setting itself is reason enough to explore it. The level of pure creativity and passion that Remedy poured into this game really shows through. Control proves that big budget, unique experiences can still exist in this shit-tier industry. Or at least it proved it to me.
Conclusion.
Please, please play this game. It's seriously one of the most interesting and unique settings I've ever experienced in any media. And while the story itself may leave a little bit to be desired, it's worth the price of admission just to explore the FBC and learn about it and all its secrets. I seriously can't recommend it enough, flaws and all. Well, there you go. There's my video on Control. This one took a little longer to make. This being a 15-hour game, or so, I mean, you can probably get a lot more out of that if you do all the side content. Anyway, it's way more demanding to make a video about a single-player, story-driven experience than it is, say, a multiplayer game like Foxhole or Hunt, or even Saurian in the case of it not having any narrative whatsoever. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that this isn't too weird or too vague. I try to keep it reasonably short and to the point. So, yeah. Anyway, there's my long-winded rambling done. thanks again for watching and making it to the end, and do take care.
Next, I will attempt to communicate. Can you understand me? Can you understand my words? Quack if you can understand my words. No response.